Hello everyone, welcome to the Mercury Virtual. Hope you are doing good. Today I am going to continue with your same module, that is a research skill that we have started in the this starting of the weekday, that is on the Monday in this week only. So we have discussed first and the second chapter in the 2 or 3 days, and now I am going to continue with this module with the chapter number 3, that is what are the various components of our research skills. So let's continue with the previous class session what we have covered in the last class, then move to the today topic, that is chapter number 3, that is the research the components. So in the last class we have started with the chapter number 2, that is the focus, that is how to focus on this one. And by getting or by reading this chapter, students the teachers are familiar with the how to integrate the research into multiple curriculum, that will find the variable background information in this chapter, right? And what will I find in this chapter? So what are the various activity that is find in this chapter? That is a research activity, student teacher activity, researches or resources are listed and the described. So there are three components that is used, that is a research activity, student, teacher and the resources that are listed and described in this chapter. So in this chapter we study about the various focuses. So first is the focus on the research. That is, what is the research? That is, if I want to investigate anything systematically, that is known as the research. This is focus on the student. So I believe that research and the study skills are whatever we call are important. There is a systematic approach there. Focus on the student, that is this is so there are multiple parts of the focus. So first part is the focus on the student, that is how we focus on the student or what we expect from the student about the research skill. So this is the code that is given. So I believe that a research and a study skills for or information skills or whatever we want to call them are important. Then there must be a systematic approach to their development. That there must be a systematic approach that is on the development, that is the focus on the development. So there will be systematic development to the approach. So there's a systematic approach to the development that takes place. So that is a systematic approach to the development. So if we believe that the research and the study skill or the information skill or whatever we want to call them are important, then there must be a systematic approach to their development. Students need the research skills to shape their research for answer. So student needs the research skill for their answer for their activity that is going on, and the systematic approach to the development of these skills will yields the students ready for independent tasks. That is again going for the answer, and the systematic approach to the development of these skills will aid students ready for independent problem solving and lifelong learning. The key idea is to teach a process that can be transferred to any research situation. So whatever the research situation that is used, whatever the activity that is used, that is carried out by the research activity, that is carried out by the student. So this is the focus on the student, that is how we focus on the student, how students focus on the research skill that is used for the research development. The key idea is that a process that can be transferred to any research situation. Now students learn the research skill more readily when the skills. These are the various points in which the student gets more or we can say the student get more quickly get the skills or more readily get the skills, the research skills, when the skills are integrated with the curriculum. If there is a we can say if there is a subject that lies in the research skills, so I will continue that study in the very good effective manner. That is also one of the parts. So they readily get the skills when they are integrated with the curriculum. They are taught with the focus on developing the independent learners. They are viewed by the students as relevant to their needs, as they are related to the students past experience. They are shared through the cooperative learning. So these are the various points by which the students get more readily, or a student learn the research skills more readily than the normal process, and using the same process skills as they proceed from the primary to the higher skill education. So if the students is upwarding, or if there are different category that is upgrading from the primary grade to the higher education, that will enable student to become familiar with the steps, understand the framework that supports the searching for the information, internalize a variety of research procedures for independent usage, adapt procedure to the situations. These are the various categories that enables a student to become familiar with the step that is used for the learning. Then next is a focus on the teacher and the teacher librarian. That is, what are the teachers and what is the focus that is available on the teacher, and what is the teacher librarian role that is focused on the teacher data. So a school library program under the direction uh, that is uh, that is covered that is covered under the teaching, that is the teacher librarian who is skilled in the cooperative planning and teaching, that provides the most basic part, that provides the most basic material, that most effective environment for the teaching of the data that is used for the upcoming data. Cooperative between the teacher and the librarian and the subject area teacher in the development of effectively planned research-based activity ensure that the students are taught the research skills. So whatever the research skill that is used, that is also a matter of the subject, that is subject content. However, in the absence of the teacher librarian, professional direction and the involvement will be guided by the principal and the teaching staff of the school. So whenever we focus on the teacher and the teacher librarian, the more focus is on the, or the more direction is on the teaching part that is provided by the principal and the teaching staff of the school. And to integrate the research skills into the curriculum, the teacher and or the teacher librarian should understand the skills required in the, so these are the various steps, that is how the teacher will integrate the research skills, or the how the teacher will integrate, or teacher librarian should integrate the research skill, that should understand the skills involved in the research, be committed to the centered student-centered learning, plan for the research skills and the thinking skill development, be flexible in the teaching style. So the teacher must be flexible in the teaching style. That is, a student must be aware that if the students are of the low category, or we can say the low IQ level of the students, then their teaching mode is different. If the student is of the high category, that is a very good category of the teaching style, or very good category of their IQ, then the teaching will be different. So that is be flexible in the teaching styles. Then be aware of the children's needs and the capabilities, then adapt to the new finding in the learning theory and the child development. And there is a pedagogy, the main focus of the pedagogy is of the child-centered and the technically sound environment, that is use the various technology, that is a technically sound environment, and the main focus is on the child, that is a child-centered approach. The next is a focus on the teacher as a facilitator model. So next part is a focus on the teacher that acts as a facilitator model. So as the students work through the research step, the teacher motivates the student to locate, analyze and use the information. So that motivates the student, that is how to analyze, how to get the information, how to make the information, how to locate, analyze and use the information. That also assists the student to clarify the thinking through questioning, paraphrasing and talking through the task. So whatever the task, whatever the data that is used, that is carried out through the questioning, paraphrasing, that means compiling, or we can say the sum up or summary of the data, and talking about through the task. Then provide the student with the opportunities to record the information. That is also the role of the teacher as a facilitator, that guides the student, that is how to do the things. The next is provide the things with the opportunity to focus on the steps required to complete the research. That is, what are the various steps that is required to complete the task. That is also the opportunity of the teacher that acts as or that behaves as a facilitator model. The next is individualizes the teaching. That means there should be individualized teaching or individual teaching. That means that student must focus on each and every student in the class. There is no that the student focus on only the front benchers or the creamy students. No, the student must focus on the individual students. Then evaluate the student progress in and the all. Then model the research behavior, that is demonstrate the problem solving process, that is what are the various problem solving process that is carried out. Now next is focus on the resources, that is the resources must be efficiently available on the data on the from the student side as well as the teacher side when they are searching for the research. That is, when they are looking for the research skill, there should be a sufficient, or we can say the effective resources that is available, that is required, that the resources must be available in the adequate quantity. So the research-based research activities or resource-based research activities require access to an adequate quantity and a variety of appropriate, up-to-date print and the non-print resources from the school library, other libraries, community and the other sources. So whatever the source that is available, the resources must be efficient or the sufficient, and these must be effective in the ability, so that the research skills must be carried out in an effective manner. So the resources must be efficient for the students and the teachers. A wide selection of information sources expands classroom resources and allows the teacher and the student to meet the individual learning needs and to develop the competency in the reading. So whatever the reading, whatever the data that is required by the data analysis, that is required by the teaching methods. That includes the reading, that includes the writing, that includes the speaking, that includes the listening, and that also includes the viewing. And suggested minimum resource standard for the laboratory student library are focused in the learning. And throughout this document, teacher refers to the teacher and or teacher librarian. Now next is chapter number 3, that is a research. What are the various components of the research? That is a research, the components. Now, is this chapter useful to me? This is the question. So the total overview of the research skills and the procedures is presented in this chapter. The information is useful to all the teachers. Now, what will I find in this chapter? There is a research model, there is a research skills continuum, and the research level continuum. So the third chapter is based on the research skills and the procedures that is required, that is available in the research process. So what are the various components of the research skills? Now, after going through this chapter, there are two categories that is lies in this chapter. One is the research model, the next is the research skill continuum, and the levels of the research skills, that is the research level continuum. So this is the code that is given. The method of teaching which approaches most nearly most nearly to the method of investigation is comparably the best, since not content with serving up a few barren and the lifeless truth, it reaches to the stalk from which they grow. That means whatever the mode of teaching, whatever the method of teaching, that is the most efficient teaching that mostly approaches to the method of investigation. That is how you investigate, how you research something, how you do the research on any topic. That is the main part. And there is no content that there are few barren and the lifeless truth that is available, but it reaches to the stalk from where they grow. Both the research continuum and the research level continuum detailed in this chapter are centered on the investigate method of teaching and the learning. And beginning with the thorough planning process and ending with evaluation, the research skills continuum has at its heart the critical information skills of retrieving, processing, and sharing. So whatever the skills, whatever the data that is required by the data analysis, that is required by the data planning, that is the research skill continuum and the research level continuum. And these are the various stages of the research, and these are the we can say the simply the crux of the of all the component that is available, all the levels or the stages of the research. And these stages will be discussed in the today's class in detail. The first is the planning that is used. So first stage is the planning, that is occupied the planning, or that is the first part. And there are various skills that is required. First is to establish the topic. That means uh, we have to plan which is the topic and what topic we are going to consider. Then identify the information sources, that what are the sources from which we can get the information. Then identify the audience and the presentation, that is what tool we are using, what presentation we are taking for the audience, and what are the audience types, their categories, their background, their qualifications. Then establish the evaluation criteria, that what is the evaluation criteria by which we can evaluate whether we are doing the good thing or not. Then review process. The next is information retrieval, that is locate resources, collect resources, and the process resources. So in the information processing that takes place, so that is the information processing. In this, choose the relevant information, that is what is the relevant information that is taken place. Then evaluate the information, whether the information that is chosen is correct or not. Then organize and the record information, that is organize and maintaining the record for the information, that is maintaining the organized information, systematic information, and maintain the record for the information. Then make the connection and the inferences, so making the connection and the inferences for the information. Then create the product, that is also the next part, that is creating the product, that is the information processing. Then revise and update, that is the next part, that is we should revise the information and edit the information. Then review the process, that is the reviewing the process. The next part is the information sharing, that is the next part. In the information sharing, there is a present finding, that is how to find the content, that is the present finding. Then demonstrate the appropriate audience behavior, that is what is the audience behavior, that is the appropriate audience behavior that is carried out, that is the information sharing that takes place. Then there is a review process, and after the information sharing, there is a evaluation that takes place, that is how to evaluate the product and the evaluate the research procedures and the skills that is used, that is the evaluations. These are the various stages, and these are the various skills that is required for each stage. Now let's discuss each stage one by one. The first one is the planning, that is how to plan out something, that is a planning, that is from the introductory level to the advanced level. Now introductory level at the teacher and the teacher librarian, that is directed, then student directed. Then this is the establish the topic, that what is the topic, that is the first point, that is What is the main topic? That is the first part that is used. That is a we are going to discuss like this one, like establish topic, identify the information sources, and so on. So first is the established topic. Now teacher develop with students an understanding of the purpose for the research. That is, what is the main purpose of the research, or what is the main crux of the research that is used, and that is used for the content that is displayed in the content. So teacher develops with the students an understanding of the purpose of the research. So teacher must develop that is with the student in collaboration with the student an understanding of the purpose for the research. That is, what is the main purpose for the research. Then this is the advanced level, that is the student directed level. Student establish the purpose for the research. So what is the main purpose for the research? That is the student establish the purpose for the research. So first is the main part is how to establish the topic, and from the teacher point of view, teacher develop with the students an understanding of the purpose of the research. Then student establish the purpose for the research. Then teacher also determines that what are the various topic or provide the limited option. That is, what are the various limited options and what are the various topic that is used. And student chose a specific topic. That what is the specific topic or what is the main topic that is carried out. That students chose a specific topic. Then student lead the or teacher leads the student to share the experiences and knowledge of the topic. That is, student or teacher leads the student. That is, student teacher asks the student. That is, or we can say lead means gain the, or we can say the help the student in gaining the experience and knowledge of the topic. And student or the teacher may introduce the topic using various resources. So it depends on the teacher whether he or she is using the PPTs, whether he or she using the interactive board, whatever the thing that is using. The student must lead the student, or the teacher must lead the student to share the experience and the knowledge of the topic. Then from the student point of view, students clearly or clarify the topic by examining what they already know or consulting a variety of resources. That is, they clarify what they already know and or consulting a variety of resources. That what are the various resources that is used. That is a student directed form. The next is teachers help the student develop and organize a question to guide the research. That is how they are using the research, what is their guide, and how they are developing the research in the student. So student help the students or teacher help the student in developing and organize the various questions to guide the research. That is how to organize and how to maintain or how to develop the questions in the minds of a student to give the or guide the research. That is the main task of the teacher also. This all comes under the established topic part. Then from the student point of view, students develop the research questions which focus on the new areas of the knowledge and the education. That is, what are the various new areas that is covered up. That is the main part of the establishing the topic. Then after getting the topic, the next part is identify the information sources. That is, what are the various sources that is covered, or what are the various ways by which the student and the teacher can get the information. That is, identify the information sources. So from teacher point of view, teacher lead the class in brainstorming for sources of information. That is, teacher discuss in the class as a brainstorming, as a group discussion. That is, what are the various sources of information. Either we can collect the information from on-site visit, from interviews, from PPTs, from group discussion, from interviews, on-site visit, presentation, anything that is used. That is what are the main source of the information. Then next is teacher introduces format for collecting the information. The student or the teacher also get the information or also introduce the format. That is, teacher responsibility is also introducing the format. That is, what is the main format for collecting the information. Then students survey information sources in the school and the community. So it is the role of the student in identifying the resources. That students survey the information in the school and the community. That student search for their information in their classmates, along with their class fellows, along with any school and the community. They get the information from the schools only, because they are studying in the school, so they are getting the information from the schools only. That survey the information sources in the school and the community. Then the next part, student choose the formats for collecting the information. That is, it is also the student criteria, student responsibility to choose the information or choose the format for collecting the information. So that is how to identify the information sources. So what are the various information sources by which the information can be gained. Then next is identify the audience and the presentation format. That is the main part. Next part, that is the next part of the planning, that is how to identify what is the main audience and what is the main presentation format by which the teacher gives the or the student takes the research skills very comfortable. That is the identify the audience and the presentation format. So teacher determines audience and the presentation formats, and students should should be introduced to a variety of formats over the time. So there are multiple formats that is introduced. That is, student must be introduced, student must be determined, or teacher must determine the audience and the presentation format, and student must be aware of these formats and the teach various types of formatting. And student also choose the audience and the presentation format from the limited options. So there are limited options for the students to choose the what are the various types of audience that is available, what are the various presentation format from the limited options. The options are very limited. Then students determine the size and character of the audience and choose the presentation format. The same at the student point of view, student also determine the size and the character of the audience. That is, what is the main size or how many student audience are available, and character means it may be a male member, it may be a female member, how the person is, that is the character of the audience, and choose the presentation formats. Next part of planning is the establish the evaluation criteria. That is, what is the evaluation criteria or how to evaluate the things, that is establish the evaluation criteria. So the teacher makes students aware of evaluation criteria for content and the process. So student makes the or teacher makes the students. So teacher, it's a responsibility of teacher to make the student aware of the evaluation criteria. That is, what is the evaluation criteria by which the teacher can evaluate the things. That is the evaluation criteria, that the student must be aware of the evaluation criteria for the content and the process. And from the student point of view, student understand or help develop evaluation criteria for both the processes and the content. So student also understand what are the various evaluation criteria for both the processes and the content that will be used in the evaluation method. So it is from the both the side, the teacher and the student. The next is the review process, that is the last part. Now teacher records the research plan for the whole class. That is, what is the research plan by which they are gaining the access, that is the research plan that is gaining the access. The student records the research plan for the whole class. Then next is students review the individual plans to guide the research. That is, what is the individual plan that is carried out to guide the plan. So it is a review process from the student side of view and from the teacher side of view. So students record the research plan for the whole class, and student review the individual plan to guide research. So this is the main difference. The teacher record the for the whole class, and the student take for the individual plans. And teacher and students reflect on the planning activities, noting specific ideas for the improvement. So students and the teacher reflect on the planning activities. That is, both the parties, student as well as the teacher, reflect on the planning activities. They are going through the planning activities, noting the specific ideas for the improvement. So there will be more ideas that is generated from the teacher and the student about the improvement. Then students reflect on planning activities. The student also reflect on the planning activities, noting the specific ideas and so on, and transfer to the other situation. So this is the planning phase, that is how the teacher and the student must cooperate with the planning phase, must work with the planning phase. So there are multiple skills that is required in the planning phase that we have discussed. And throughout this document, teacher refers to the teacher and or teacher librarian. Now next stage is the stage number 2, that is the information retrieval. That is the next phase. So the next stage is the information retrieval, that is how to retrieve the information. What are the various modes of retrieving the information, that start from the introductory level, that is the teacher librarian directed, to the advanced level, that is the student directed. So this is the teacher librarian directed level, this is the student directed level. So for the first step is in getting the information retrieval, in taking the information retrieval is the locate resources. That is the first part. That is teacher identifies the useful resources. That is the first part, that the teacher identifies what is the useful resources, what are the various kinds of useful resources that is available. students are taught to use the standard occasion tools such as the card or the computer catalog and encyclopedia and the magazine indexes. So whatever the content, whatever the tool that they are using, it's the responsibility of the student that they are taught by the teacher, that is how to use them or how to use the various criteria, how to use the standard occasion tool that is used for the that is used for the occasion criteria. And students are taught to use the standard content to get the standard content that is used for the content of the available. And teacher guides the student in the use of the table of the content, indices and the glossary. So it's the responsibility of a teacher to guide the student in terms of the content, in terms of the indices, in terms of the glossaries. That is the how to locate the resources, that is how to get the resources. Then the next part is students are helped with the terms or keywords to be used for the searching. So whatever the term, whatever the content they are using, they are using the to be able to locate the resources. The students are helped with the terms or keywords to be used for the searching. Then from the student point of view, when they are used to locate the resources, so students use the standard tools for locating the information, such as, so whatever the information they are using, they're getting the tools or they are using the standard tools for locating the information. What are the tools that is used, such as the card or the computer catalog, encyclopedia indexes, that is encyclopedia indexes, magazine indexes, bibliographic, that is also one of the main tool that is used to locate the resources. So we are using the bibliographic content. Then catalogs of the non-print resources, that is whatever the non-print resources that is available, so provide the catalogs of them. Then online databases, that is also the part, that is the online databases, that is also the main category of this one. So we are also getting, or students are also getting the information from the online databases. Then telephone and the other directories. So one of the important another source that is used for the getting the information is the is the telephone and the other directories, then community resource list and the computer databases. So these are the various standard tools that is used for locating the information, such as the card, computer catalog, encyclopedia indices, magazine indices, bibliographic notes. And students also generate the possible search terms using the standard thesis or subject reading or modeling or leading list. So whatever the list that is available, the student must generate the standard terms. So whatever the search term that is used, so they are searching the resources, they are locating the resources. The next is the collect the resources. The students also help us, or teacher also help the student to find a variety of appropriate and the accessible print. So it's the responsibility of the teacher that helps the student to find a variety of appropriate and accessible print and the community resources. So whatever the print resources, whatever the community resources they are taking, they are searching for the collecting the resources. So it's the responsibility of the teacher that helps the student in finding the resources, whatever the resources, such as the books, magazines, film tapes, videotapes, interviews, etc. These are the various resources that is carried out by the student, and that is assisted by the teacher. It's the responsibility of the teacher to assist the student in collecting the resources. And from the student point of view, students finds a variety of appropriate print, non-print and community resources, including such specialized materials such as almanac, yearbooks, subject-specific handbooks, dictionaries, atlases, encyclopedias, periodicals, demographic yearbooks, computer databases, online sources, CD-ROM sources, interviews, etc. So these are the various material by which the student will get the or collect the information in these materials. Like, yeah, they will maintain the, or students will maintain the yearbooks for maintaining the records or maintaining the resources or collecting the resources, dictionaries, atlases, encyclopedias, periodicals. They are also getting the information or getting the collecting the resources into the periodicals, demographic yearbooks, online sources. The online sources is also available for collecting the resources, CD-ROM sources, interviews, etc. And students access resources from different libraries and outside resources. It's the responsibility of that student to get the resources or to get how to access the resources. And in the teacher librarian, student learn routine required to borrow the resource material from their school library. The student must learn the routine how to get the books from the library, when they return, when they submit, when they access. So whatever the rules regulation of the library, they are carried out by the teacher that helps the students. Then student access the resources from different libraries and the outside sources. For example, For example, the special resource collections, community resources and agencies, special libraries, professional societies and associations, service clubs, museums, galleries. These are the various sources by which students also get the also access the resources from different libraries and the sources. And these are the names of various sources that is available, like museums, galleries, science centers, and the other sites. Next point says teachers also shows the student how to use the audio visual equipment as necessary. So it is also the role of the teacher to show or show the students as how to use the audio visual equipment, how to use the audio visual, so how to record the data, how to represent the data, what are the various tools that is used for the audio visual equipment as necessary. For example, the audio cassette recorders, video cassette recorders, overhead projectors, film strip viewers. So how to use that resources that is used for the audio visual aids. So it's the responsibility of the teacher to guide the students. And students uses a variety of equipment as required. So student also uses a variety of equipment as required. For example, the computers, laser disc, players, etc. Teachers and the students also review the material collected and make a preliminary list of the resources. The student and the teacher both review the material collected. So whatever the material they are collected at the end, they review the material collected and make a list of the resources. Whatever the list they complete, they make a list. And this resource is available, yeah, completed. This resource is available, that completed. Student and the teacher review the material collected and make a preliminary list of the resources. The next part, and from the student point of view, students review the type and the quantity of the resources collected. So it's the responsibility of the student to review the type and the quantity, whatever the quantity, whatever the type that is we are using, and prepare a working bibliography. So student review the type and the quantity of the resources they are collected and also prepare a working bibliography, that is from where they are getting the resources, what is the type and what are the quantity that is collected, and prepare a working bibliography. So this is the stage 1 that is completed, sorry, stage 2 that is stage 1 that is completed, that is planning. Now I'm continuing with the information retrieval. We have discussed or finished with the locate resources, collect resources. Now next is the review process, that is the next or the third part, that is the final part, that is the review process. So this is the last phase or the last step of the information retrieval, that is the last step of this one, that is the introductory level, this is the advanced level, this is the teacher librarian directed, and this is the student directed. Now the teacher discusses with the students whether there is a sufficient information to answer the research question or not. So that is the teacher discusses with the student whether there is a sufficient information that is available to answer the research question or not. And the student and the teacher reflect on the information retrieval activities, noting specific ideas for the improvement. So it's the responsibility of the teacher and the student that reflect on the information retrieval activities, noting what are the various specific ideas for the improvement. So it is the responsibility or it is the role of the teacher and the student both that reflects on the information retrieval activities that have a specific ideas for the improvement. And the student determine if the further information is required or if the research plan needs to be revised or not. So it's the responsibility of the student to determine if the further information is required or if the research plan needs to be revised or not. That is from the student point of view. Then student reflect on the information retrieval activities, noting specific ideas for transfer to the other situation. So whatever the other situation that is carried out by the specific ideas for the transfer to the other situations. So these are the various information retrieval concept that is used. So the last step is the review process, that is from the student and the teacher point of view, that the teacher discuss with the student whether there is sufficient information is required to research the research question or not, and the student that teacher reflect on the information retrieval activities, noting specific ideas for improvement, and student reflect on information retrieval activities, noting specific ideas for transfer to other situations. So these are the various activities that is carried out, that is a review process that is carried out by the student and the teacher, right? So the next stage is the stage number 3, that is the information processing. That is the next stage, that is after the planning, after the information retrieval, the next phase is the information processing that I'm going to take in the next class, that is the tomorrow's class. That's all for today's session. In the tomorrow's class, I'm taking your next stage, that is the information processing. Thanks a lot everyone. Bye bye for listening me, and if there is any doubts, any suggestions, you can ask the doubts from me. Thanks a lot everyone. Bye bye.